We're living in times where slowly the number of want-to-be entrepreneurs starts to exceed the number of those that would rather choose the safety and security of working for someone else. To top it off, entrepreneurs are also more vocal on social media, oftentimes presenting only the happy, shiny aspects of becoming a business owner, but leaving out the mundane, the risky, and the not so glamorous parts of it all. Today, we'll be talking about transitioning from full-time work into entrepreneurship and how to combine your traditional job with becoming a business owner, what to look out for, what to pay attention to, and what are the steps you can safely take if the urge of becoming an entrepreneur is simply too strong to ignore. This is Habits of Influence, a podcast by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, where we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of entrepreneurship and building a movement where you become the person others wish to follow.
Everything that happens is motivation.
Hello and welcome back. If you're tuning in for yet another week, and if you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome. My name is Magdalena Hanna, and each week I sit down with inspiring and experienced business owners to discuss the trials and tribulations of the journey of entrepreneurship and discuss topics undiscussed. Today on the show, I'm speaking to Christen N.James, a side hustle coach for women who helps women to leverage their 9-to-5 when starting a business, gain the confidence and the tools necessary to navigate the transition, and help with the emotional aspect of those changes. She's also the host of the Shine to 5 podcast, had been selected as the entrepreneur in residence in partnership with the Toronto Public Library, and ran multiple workshops for aspiring entrepreneurs, both online and offline. Christen, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you today.
I'm so super excited. Oh my gosh. Before we even begin, I would like to ask you, what has caused you to actually go into that field? I know there is a lot of demand in creating side hustles, but I think more often than not, now people want to immediately jump, right? Immediately transition, just quit my job and take that laptop, sit on the beach.
Right. If it only was that easy every single time.
Exactly. So what made you choose that path? And was there something in your own journey that kind of made you think, hey, people need that. People really need to know that.
I chose that simply because when I was still in my 9-to-5, and I always knew that I wasn't a lifer in the 9-to-5 setting. But once I had made the decision, I really started to think about it, and I felt like my creativity was being stunted. I had all these great ideas. I tried all these different side hustles. I like to say that I ended up staying at my 9-to-5 5 years longer than I wanted to, because I didn't know about investing in a coach. I didn't know that was an option. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the resources. I was trying to figure everything out. So once I did start my own transition, after I was laid off, I started my own transition into entrepreneurship. And I wanted to continue to support women identified professionals who want to make that transition as well. And the reason why I do it now, because I remember thinking, I wish I knew what to do. I wish I had someone to support me and someone who's been through the experience to guide me and to validate my feelings. One of the things I think is super, super important is stressing. It's not just a matter of like, okay, bye, I'm out. I'm going to be on the beach with my laptop. There's a really ugly side to it, especially transitioning from only knowing how to be an employee to being a full-time entrepreneur. It is terrifying. You're filled with doubt. Some things are going to work. A lot of things will not work. So during that journey, as I like to call it, I want to be able to support the women who made the decision, actually were brave enough to make the decision to leave, to help them through the entire journey. So once they do feel like they've made the transition, it's been a successful one, and it's been their story. They know how to define their success. They're doing things on their terms. And it's just so validating for them and for me as well.
Fantastic. And there's so many moving parts, isn't it? And the whole approach needs to change when you do make that shift from being employed to essentially being employed by yourself, because that's what we don't say oftentimes, right? It's not like I'm going to be a business owner tomorrow. As soon as I
Yeah.
like start a
Yeah.
business, I'm a business owner. No, you're going to be self-employed, meaning you're going to be employed by yourself.
Exactly.
It's going to
Exactly.
require, yeah, lots of work, and a completely different approach. Being able to manage your own time, being able to manage your own emotions, facing challenges that you probably did not face as an employee. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
And why women? Do you think it's because of your own perspective? You think you, because I'm a woman, because you're a woman, because we can bring
Yeah.
something
Well,
to
yeah,
it?
because I'm a woman. Yes.
Or
And
is it
it's
because
also,
women are more, like you said, the emotional aspect? Women tend to be more emotional and kind of less confident, maybe.
for sure. For sure. That's a piece too. I have worked with men, I have coached men, and the experience has always been different. And like you said, women tend to just not be as confident. Men really kind of tend to go into something when they have made the decision, they can just go after it. They get super focused. They're not typically not intimidated by any type of competition. So with women, there just seems to be a lot more moving parts to it. And typically that's who I was just attracting as my business, I got further and further into my business. And so as I was working on the language for my marketing, I realized I was always speaking to women. So on top of getting very specific on being a side hustle coach, it organically happened that I became a side hustle coach for women, because we do need, and my 3 pillars I like to say are emotions, mindset, strategy. So I say I get all up in the fields before we roll up our sleeves. We are absolutely going to get strategic. We are absolutely going to figure out the goals and creating the action plan and doing everything else. But how does it feel to know that you're making this decision? How does it feel to know that you are going from being provided basically everything from your job description, expectations, your salary, who you're working with, what results they're going to be anticipating at the end of the month, to doing everything on your own? It's terrifying.
It is.
And some of my clients, they're moms. So they're not just considering everything, or they might have a partner, and they're all these, that's why I said there's so many moving parts. So it is important to be able to validate their feelings, validate where you are, how you're feeling, why you're feeling this way. Sometimes when I'm coaching a client, we don't even talk about strategy. They had a bad week or a bad month, and they need a safe space to be able to unpack everything, and I will hold space for them, because there's a human behind the experience. Yes, we are entrepreneurs and we're going to be running businesses and we're going to be self-employed, but you are your business. So if you can't show up for yourself, if you are not feeling 100%, and as they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you can't pour into yourself, you can't be expected to pour in, or you shouldn't be expected to pour into your business. You're not going to show up as your true self in your business.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
And there's so many things left unsaid, I think, which does a disservice to new people coming into to any sort of business. It doesn't matter the industry, really. So many things left unsaid that don't speak about, hey, we don't all have the same amount of time. Hey, if you're a parent, you're probably not going to have the same amount of time than a person who doesn't have any children. Then again, the person that has a partner and doesn't have a partner, right? Because there's a lot of single moms as well,
of
or
course,
somebody who has people to look after, like elderly parents or disabled family members. It's just, there's so much lack of empathy, I think, when it comes to the topics of entrepreneurship. We're just being flooded with those magical methods, like, yes, you have to post 100 million times a day and tell me, what you do every second. Because that's the only way to build a brand. In fact, I actually had a conversation like that the other day, and speaking from a point of view of a marketer who is really big on personalizing, is really big on, like you're saying, seeing people, validating their emotions, seeing what they're struggling with, what part of the journey are they at, first of all, and what are their skills, what are their abilities, what are their financial abilities as well, what can they do, what they cannot do. So I don't like that kind of cookie cutter, like everything for everybody. It doesn't work this way, and it's not business. And once you're in it, I mean, like, it's probably going to work when everything goes right, but what if anything goes wrong?
when
When something goes wrong.
because something will go awry, go off track. I don't believe in the cookie cutter as well. And I know that's another thing I've gotten feedback from clients is when they even thinking about hiring a coach or having that first conversation, am I going to be sold something that I don't need? Am I going to be told these things? Well, it sounds like this is that you need this, and this, and here's why you need this program. And this, when you do this, you need to do A, B, C, and D. And that in and of itself can also be really, really super intimidating.
Yeah.
Knowing that, will this person understand me? Will this person really get where I'm coming from and why I'm doing this and how I want to do this and where I want to end up? So from the very beginning, they have to feel seen, heard, and understood.
Absolutely. I think that's a
experience.
brilliant point you just made. And oftentimes we forget that we are actually dealing with people, isn't it? This is real life. It's not
Right?
like just
Yeah.
because it's online, it doesn't mean that we should treat it any differently than our normal day-to-day interactions. And I just can't fathom why people can't see that. It's so easy.
Yeah,
and yet so
exactly.
difficult to understand.
Yeah. And there's just so much noise too, because, and that's the other thing that irks me is entrepreneurship can be so glamorized, right? We should all be entrepreneurs. And when you become an entrepreneur and you're making 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 quadrillion figures, and this is what you can do, and here's where you are, they come in feeling like this person that I follow, this influencer, whoever it is that I follow, they did this thing and it worked for them. So if I do it, then it should work for me, right? And I'm like, who are you setting the goals for? Are you setting the goals for yourself? Or are you setting the goals for someone else? Because you're setting someone else's goals. So once you start to get the results, if you get the results, you're really not going to be happy with them because they're not aligned with your values. So you haven't really defined your success. You're letting them define your success. And you're coming from a place or a space where success was defined for us as employees. Right. So when we become entrepreneurs, or we're making that transition to becoming an entrepreneur, we really have to be able to define success for yourself every single time. I would say 9 times out of 10. That's okay, maybe not every single time, but 9 times out of 10, when I ask a client, what does success look like to you? Their answer is always, I want to be in control of my time. It's most of the time, of course, financial freedom is a huge piece. Of course, we need to make money. Let's keep it real. But typically it's, I want to be in control of my time. I want to be able to go to the grocery at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday and without worrying about having to book the time off and having to do this. I want to be able to take my kids to so-and-so. I want to be able to, when I go on vacation, I can go anytime that I want to. Time always, always, always comes up. So when you're thinking about defining your success, that you really have to think about, what does success mean to you? And then start your journey.
And this takes me to two questions, 2 avenues that I wanted to discuss, because like we've already established, there are a lot of things that are left unsaid. And this glamorous influencer does a lot of things behind the scenes that they don't necessarily talk about. So there's 2 things that I want to ask you. Do you think that people are jumping into entrepreneurship a little bit too quickly and unprepared because they don't know that now they have to create that clear and consistent path for themselves when they do go into business? And the second avenue is, which I absolutely love because I highly resonate with this. You said about transferable skills, which I'm very big on transferable skills. Do you think that people choose entrepreneurial paths just because they are trendy, or because they actually can contribute something valuable to them?
You know what, as far as like moving too quickly into it or thinking it's easier, a lot of times, even from I'm speaking from my own experience too, when I was still in 9 to 5, and there were a few side hustles that I tried that didn't quite work out, right? Because I thought, oh yeah, doing this thing and I'm really good at it, I could make it into a business and I'll be able to make money, no problem. So they think that, passion, and of course, passion should be the thing that drives you, but turning passion into profit takes a little bit more work, a little bit more strategy. And again, because things are being so glamorized, like, you're really good at this thing, here's what you can do, and here's how you can be amazing at it. And why aren't you an entrepreneur already? And this is why, and the comparisonitis will start as well. Well, if
Mm.
so-and-so is doing it, I've been following them, and they make it sound so easy. But like you said, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that they're not sharing. We're getting a tiny percentage of that social media post. We don't know what went into that. If somebody can say, oh my goodness, I just made this X amount of dollars in my sleep. How many years did it take you to get there? I'm
And how
making
many
6
failed
figures.
businesses?
How much did you spend in marketing to be able to make 6 figures? So there are pieces that are not being shared, and I do not shy away from sharing it. I don't shy away from saying, listen, if you don't want, you haven't considered quitting a couple times for becoming an
Are you
entrepreneur.
even an entrepreneur?
If you don't have that moment of, I really could just go back to having a 9 to 5 and I can relieve a lot of like financial woes and blah, blah, blah. But then if you're not thinking that and you're not thinking about quitting, you got to make your goals a little bit bigger, a little bit scarier. But it's also, yeah, people can jump into it really quickly. Some people are super successful at whatever they're good at. They can turn that passion into profit. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but the average person, from my experience, from my observation, they need to understand there's a lot more that goes into becoming an entrepreneur. A lot more emotion is involved in becoming an entrepreneur. Yes, we want to be focused. We want to have the blinders on, create the strategy, set the income goal, generate the leads, fill the funnel, convert the sales, do all of that. But just in saying all of that, you realize how much work really goes into it. So people do jump into it thinking it's easier
And
than
I
it
always
really is.
laugh, because it's you can only be understood by another person that does similar things to you. So a person who has never edited a video is never going to understand a person who edits videos and how much time it takes, outside of just
Right.
recording. Then editing probably takes 3 times or 4 times
Oh my
longer
gosh,
than
it's
the recording.
super time consuming. Yeah, it really is, right? It's
So
everything.
people don't know that, and I don't think that many people speak about it. So I think it's very valuable you touched upon that, because people need to know that business is not just the fact that you're good at something, not just the fact that you can even create a product or create a service, or you're really passionate or really good,
Yeah.
but it's all those business moving parts that are maybe a little bit less
Mhm.
fascinating, a little bit, less thrilling, that
Yeah.
needs to be in place as well if you really want it to work, if you really want to achieve success.
Yeah, yeah. And it also understanding the difference between working on and working in your business too, right? Like there are times when you just want to be able to tap into your creativity and figure out the marketing and figure out the plan and the strategy. And working in your business is what I think about income producing. What are you actually doing that's generating an income? So one side, the on side, might take a little bit more than the inside, or vice versa. But knowing the importance of being able to allocate the necessary amount of time on each in order to be successful, to be able to create that system in your business, to be able to have the proper marketing, and also understanding your zone of genius and your power hour. All these different things really do come into play behind the scenes to being a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, and those come with time as well. A lot of the
Yeah.
times we don't end up doing what we started doing, right?
Right?
When
So
we
much, so much evolution, so much evolving
Exactly. And
happening.
by working with people, or even having clients and having to deal with people, you kind of find that path, because I believe it happens. I'm a business owner. I own a product business, and I'm also a service provider. So I used to run a brick and mortar business in the past. So I've got
Mm,
this overview of, there's certain overlaps that you need, and they are always going to lead you towards finding your spot in the marketplace, or kind of honing in into like the zone of genius is found more than it is, imposed by yourself. And I want people to
yeah.
understand that as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We need to, there's a lot. It can be, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It's okay. And we really need to, I highlight, like I say, if you enjoy the 9 to 5 life, good for you. Kudos to you. Because that's another thing I see a lot online is people feel like because they're not an entrepreneur,
That's another
oh my
thing.
goodness, like, am I not fitting in? And am I, it's okay. We need people in 9 to 5. We need
Exactly. If nobody
people.
works.
We can't all be out here struggling as entrepreneurs. But it's just, my thing is, if you want to pursue entrepreneurship, if you want to turn your passion into profit, if you feel like at your 9 to 5, you don't feel fulfilled, it's not doing what it's you, and you're only here for you feel like, okay, I can't do this for another 30, 40 years or however long it is, then you really should pursue that. You really should kind of tap into that and see where it takes you. I've worked with people who tried out entrepreneurship and went right back to the 9 to 5, but at least they tried. And I think that's the important thing, is to at least try and see where that takes you.
I mean, yeah, and something came to my mind, because do you think that now, because we used to say the rat race in the corporate world, right? Everybody used to say, there's the rat race, there's a rat race, I just want to get out of the rat race. But hasn't it shifted, actually? It's because of that pressure. You've mentioned the pressure. Everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. And in fact, there is a flood of new entrepreneurs online, which makes it a really messy, a really loud space sometimes, because not everybody is fit to be an entrepreneur. I don't believe that everybody can be. But that rat race kind of shifted to entrepreneurship now, didn't it?
It did. And it's because, again, online, and a lot of things can be done online. And we have so much access to so much information and so many people providing you with tools and tips and tricks. And here's, from follow this A to Z, and you'll be able to so and so, and 1, 2, 3, and here are the 5 steps to blah, blah, blah. And it seems like, I mean, it's great. It's great. And we absolutely are supporting the economy once we start to generate an income consistently. That's another thing we have to understand. Sometimes it's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
We have really great months, and other times we don't, especially in the beginning. So, and I see with clients, they expect immediate results. So they do something, they start to put themselves out there. They feel like, okay, I'm doing the thing. Where is everybody? And I'm like,
Exactly. But I think that's because of those, those one-liners that are being thrown around, like I've made $1 million in a week, or learn how to, think about money and then they appear,
Yeah.
sort of ludicrous, thought processes that should not really be perpetuated, because then people come in with that thought like, oh, it hasn't worked out, it means there's something wrong with me.
Right.
If everybody else is doing that, millions, and everybody's doing the wonderful career, everybody's getting clients, floods of clients all the time, and I'm not, then hey, maybe it's me.
Yeah. And we should be able to personalize the experience of entrepreneur. Yes, it's business, but we need to be able to personalize the experience of becoming an entrepreneur, because everybody's experience will be completely different. And I think being able to, there's so much noise online, and I love the online space. I love creating content. I love showing up. I love putting myself out there, all of that. But there is still so much noise in the online space. And I think being able to, one of the important things about standing out is just being authentic and showing up and saying, which is why I think my message tends to resonate with my clients, is I'll say, listen, last week, I honestly thought about quitting again. And here I am 7 years into my business. It's like, wow, CJ, really? I'm like, yeah, because I'm human. And if something doesn't go according to plan, I worked on something, I planned something out, I thought it was going to go this way and it didn't. And you have that moment of like, should I, am I? And then, but you're like, okay, yeah. But you know what? I want to share this with you. I love to think of doubt as a catalyst. I feel like we deal with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and little voice in our heads and shiny object syndrome, all of that. But I feel like once we start to doubt something, it means that we're on the right track. Because when you think about it, do you doubt when something is easy and it's not going to impact your life, and you can just do something and it just flows out of you like, all right, cool, like I'll just be able to do this thing and it'll be great. But as soon as it's a really big decision, like I want to pursue this passion, I want to turn this passion into profit, I want to be able to define my success, I want to be able to reframe my mindset and retell my story and how I've been conditioned that I'm supposed to go to school, get the job, get the higher education, get the job, and this is what I was supposed to do, and I really want to be over here.
Mm.
And then you start to doubt that and you start to question that. Really, should I? Am I capable enough? Then you know you're on the right track because it's something that you really, really, really want. We are hardwired to resist change. We're actually wired to want to stay comfortable. So once you tap into what will make you uncomfortable and you start to doubt, you realize though that if you follow through on it, the discomfort is
Mm.
temporary.
Mm.
It'll happen and you'll
And I
get over.
mean, you know, the biggest breakthroughs, I think, come from not the, like you said, when it goes lovely, everything is going fine and everything is easy and things are just handed to me. No, that's not where breakthroughs come.
No, you got to push through that. If that moment when you feel like I have done everything I can, I am not getting the results I desired, people are not seeing my effort, my results don't match my effort, and blah blah blah. And you really, if you just keep going and you just push through, on the other side of that, you push through to a breakthrough. You
So what would
have
you
to.
say is that moment? How when should people say, okay, I'm pushing through because I need to be resilient and I really want this? And when
Mhm.
to say this is really not working out, maybe that's not the best path for me. What would you say to that?
When people feel like things aren't working out for them, I like to ask, well, how badly do you want something? And
Mm.
if I have found, because I have absolutely been in puddles of tears,
Oh, not one night, not
especially
one pillow had been soaked.
just a puddle of tears, thinking, oh my God, everything's so hard and I don't know what, and it was early on in my business that I was in these puddles of tears. And I really had to take a moment and say, how badly do I want this?
Mm.
And nothing worth it ever, ever, ever comes easily. And as the saying goes, and as cliche as it is, easy come, easy go. When you put in that work, and it's not, I don't look at failure as just failure. There are lessons. And that's a beautiful thing about entrepreneurship. There are some things that are just not going to work out, but there's so much that you can learn about yourself, about the journey, about just being a business owner as a whole, on a whole. And then you go back, you revisit your goals, you reevaluate. Hey, I did this thing that worked. I did this thing that didn't work. Why didn't it work? What can I do differently? How can I revisit it? Maybe I'll try this the next time and then this will work out. Here's my desired outcome. What was my actual outcome? And you really spend some time reflecting on it. And those moments when things aren't working, those are typically the moments when I pause and I surrender and I trust the process. And I will say, you know what? I just need to keep going. I will show up and do the best that I can. Whatever my best looks like today, it might be different from yesterday. It'll be completely different from tomorrow. Some days I might not do as much. Some days I might, you might not have any clients. On the days that you don't have any clients, there are other things you can be doing in your business. You can
Oh,
work on
plenty.
your business, right?
Plenty.
So it's not that because you don't have clients, that means I don't have business. Where else can you show up in and on your business, for the business to run? You absolutely will doubt. You absolutely will hit a wall. Things will absolutely plateau. I tell my clients all the time, you're going to want to quit. You're, you're going to doubt yourself. This is not going to be easy. It's not. It's going to be hard. There's some parts that are going to be really, really enjoyable. And then there's some parts when you're going to think, I think I should, CJ, I think I just want to stay at my 9 to 5. Okay. If that's what you want to do, if you think that's what's best for you, then that's what's best for you. But as long as you're not giving up on your dream, it's okay to take a step back.
Yeah.
It's okay to see what's working and what's not working. And then to be able to just reflect. And when we take, and that's the other thing too, with being an entrepreneur, is everything's on us, especially when you start off as a solopreneur until we can, get the team. You start off as a solopreneur and everything's on you. So when you feel like things aren't working and it all depends on me, it's all resting on me, it's all lying on me. And if something's not working, then I'm not successful. We touched on that already.
Yeah.
But you just pause, trust the process. And we're always looking for the next thing. When we do accomplish the goal, like, all right, what's next? We do hit that income goal. I can hit 6 figures. I'm going to try for 7. Then you go on to the next thing, You take a moment, you just pause, and you celebrate the small wins.
Mm.
Look at where you were 6 months ago, a year ago. There was a time that you prayed and wished for where you are right now. So take a moment and celebrate where you are right now. You may have hit a wall, but you got to a point in your business. You may have even left your 9 to 5. Did you really take a moment to celebrate going through that transition of leaving the cushy, the stability, the predictability, the steady paycheck, the benefits, leaving all of that behind? The fear of judgment of people, what will people say and what will people think, the lack of support, the fear of failure. You overcame all of that to become an entrepreneur, and all you're constantly thinking about is the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Take a moment.
Give yourself time to process. Yeah. And I think, do you
Yes.
know what? Whoever I speak to who actually does business like for a longer time, they all say the same things when it comes to the thought that comes through your mind in those moments of doubt. And that is, you said it actually yourself today, that question that you ask yourself, do I really want this?
Yeah.
And 10 out of 10 people, not even 9 out of 10 of entrepreneurs, long-term entrepreneurs, are going to say, I can't see that wanting anything more than this.
Yeah.
And I
And
have
that's
that
enough.
myself. Do
Yeah,
I
I
really?
love that.
I don't want anything else as much as I want this, and that's,
Right.
like I said, it doesn't matter. It's just about the business. Then it's about a specific goal, a specific milestone. She's like, I really want this. I really want to show myself that I can do this. And then you raise, it's just, instead of looking for outside motivations, it's all inside of you and the answers are inside of you. And I think it's
Yes.
valuable
Yeah.
because the people who know that maybe this isn't for them, they're going to feel it too, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Once you want it badly enough, you will stop at nothing to get it.
Yeah.
And you realize, okay, well, that didn't work out. Gotta keep going because I really want this. So that's when it's really helpful to revisit your goals, reevaluate your goals. What's working, what's not working. Some things will not work out. We need to be okay with
Yeah.
some things just not working
Oh,
out.
absolutely. There's going to be lots of challenges and lots of things are
Right.
going to fall
A
through.
lot of challenges. Yeah, you're right. If you want it badly enough. And I always say to people, if you say you want something badly enough, because I am also a mindset coach. And so we say, if you say you want something badly enough, but you do nothing to get it, you didn't want it badly enough.
Yeah.
And that's that. It's as simple as that. If you want it, you will go after it. You will at least try. You would at least explore. But if you are sitting in this space of fear and doubt all the time, and you don't realize, okay, I can't do this on my own, maybe I should get some support, a coach, a mentor. Yes, it's great to look at the influencers online, but we've already established some of them are like, it's so easy. And they may not necessarily be speaking the language and be saying the things you wanted to hear or you need to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
If you realize I don't have all the tools, I don't have all the resources, I really need to see this thing through, then it's okay to get help. It's okay to get help. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to work on yourself by working with someone else. And then working with someone else, working with a coach, you get somebody objective to come in. They're not as close to your business as you are. Your business is yours. It's your baby. Somebody else coming in, a third party coming in. And I love using analogies. So I like to use the analogy and say, imagine the two of us are standing at the entrance to a room and there's just paper everywhere. And there's this shelf on the other side of the room where if you can just sort through the paperwork, everything will be organized. And you look at me and you say, CJ, oh my God, CJ, I don't know where to start. Like, this is wild. How am I going to do this? Just pick up one piece of paper and you start one pile and you pick up another one and you realize you're sorting through everything. And the whole point to that is you have everything you need already. You just needed someone else to come along and support you through and be objective and say, are you sure this is what you need to work on right now? What happened the last time when you did this? What happened? What about if you try this? How would you feel about so-and-so results? I'm not providing you. Of course, I'm providing you with the support. I'm providing you with the resources. I'm literally pulling everything that's already in you out of you so you can be the best version of an entrepreneur that you're meant to be.
Yeah, and exactly. And it would be a disservice if you as a mentor, not given this to a person, not try to pull out those things out of them, because then they become dependent on you as a mentor.
Mhm.
And it kind of like that vicious cycle. They go from being employed to being under,
Yeah,
dependent on somebody else.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I've
for
had
sure.
clients like this who just used to call me like, okay, this happened. What am I supposed to do?
What's next? Yeah.
Think, that's what I gave you, all the tools so that you are able. But then again, it comes with experience as well. You need to learn to be self-sufficient. You need to learn to be able to be resourceful, right? To search for
Mhm.
answers, to try different things, to be flexible, to challenge yourself to a certain degree.
Yeah, yeah. And you really put it back on them when they call you, like, okay, what's next? Like, what do you think you should do next?
Yeah, but sadly,
We,
that's the thing. Some people grab on to, they're so used to being underneath somebody that they want that reassurance and that security. And speaking of
Mhm.
that actually leads me to my other question,
Okay.
because there's two schools. People say either, you have this one side that says, yes, quit your job, jump off a cliff, out of
Yeah,
the
take the
comfort
leap.
zone, get in, do entrepreneurship. And there's another one, which I find personally, you might disagree with me, but personally a little bit more systemized and a little bit more secure and a little bit more responsible, which is do the side hustle. Like you said, you're a side hustle coach. That implies that you're not going into business immediately. You're just building
Mhm.
something on the side until you're
Mhm.
ready. And
Mhm.
that doesn't take away your financial security, which makes it less stressful, right? If it doesn't work out. What would you say to that? Which, like, I know which way you're probably leaning, but
Right.
and
Yeah.
why? And why is that important to kind of? I started my online business. I was working a job. I was actually working two jobs, because
Okay.
I split up with my child's dad at that time. So I had all of the burden of the bills and everything on myself. So I could not just say, oh yeah, but I want to do business, because I feel so passionate about it, right? So
Mm.
I had to actually work two jobs, raise my little kid, and start this up until it grew to the point where I could say, all right,
Yeah. I
I
love
can let
that.
go now.
Yeah.
So which one would you go to, and why? And why is it important?
I love the option. I always stress leverage, 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 leverage your 9 to 5 before you leave. What if you know you want to leave, walk into that every day, and you might be feeling unfulfilled, but walk in every day and you say, what can I take away from my experience as an employee? Because the type of employee you are typically reveals the type of entrepreneur you'll be.
Hmm.
You walk into your 9 to 5, and there are a lot of transferable skills. When you're dealing with your coworkers, you're working on your communication skills. When you're going to different events that are the organization, the corporation might be putting on, you're working on your networking skills. When you are meeting deadlines, when you're starting at 9, you're finishing at 5, you have lunch and blah, 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 you're still working on having structure. You're still working on what it would be like to have office hours and what it would be like to set boundaries when you have your own clients and your own customers. There are so many transferable skills. I know one of the things I had said, because I was in a managerial position, so I had to have a lot of difficult conversations with employees.
Mm.
And I realized that was actually a tool that helped me with entrepreneurship, again, with boundaries and with understanding you communicate differently with the different types of people. You can't sell the same way to people. People don't receive your information all the same way. Some people you just can't get through, you just can't work with, and you just won't get the same kinds of results. So while you're at your 9 to 5, take away from it what you can take away from it that can be applied to your becoming your own boss. While you're dealing with a boss, when you're talking with your boss and they're communicating with you, and you say, you know what? When I have my own team or when I have my own employees, that's not how I'm going to do it. I'm
Mm.
actually going to do this. This makes more sense. I realize that I prefer when people talk to me a certain way, or people do certain things a certain way. And then I know now you're working on your leadership skills. And even as a solopreneur, you need to work on being a leader, right? And the leadership skills will still absolutely come in
No,
handy.
definitely, very
So
much needed as well.
yeah, you just walk in every day and you say, what can I take away from this today? You're feeling unfulfilled, you know you want to leave, but there's so much in that setting that you will creating a system because you have a routine that you will go through. What can be automated? Okay, I keep doing this one thing over and over and over and over. obviously, when I create a system for my business, I'm going to figure out how to automate this. I'm going to figure out where I need to show up and where I don't need to show up. I'm too hands-on with something. Maybe when I need to pass things off, that's when I'll know as a solopreneur, I'm ready to hire someone. I'm ready to delegate responsibilities. What's your zone of genius? And then there are the things that aren't necessarily in our zone, but very necessary in our business.
Yeah.
A lot of times it comes out to the numbers, right? The bookkeeping and the accounting. It will be one of the, or like hiring an assistant. And you say, this is my zone of genius. This is where I show up best. I don't like doing all this other stuff. And if I don't like doing this, but if I can show up and I can be here, I can generate the income in order to now pay someone to do all the other things that I don't want to do in my business. You're observing while you're in that 9-to-5 setting. Maybe you're in a position, and there are other times when there's alignment between your 9-to-5 and your business. If that's the case, hey, take that course and let them pay for it, right? You get all kinds of training that you can now take, because I know clients that have done that as
That is
well.
a brilliant point. Yeah.
Yeah. You can
The
you get
opportunities that you
training.
don't
It's
really have in the
there.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're still there. You still have the steady income. You don't have to worry about the finances, but you're transferring all of these skills and you're applying them to your business so you can grow your business, so you can generate the income. You can set the income goals. You can create a system and watch your business actually grow as you supplement essentially the income that you'll be leaving behind when you leave your 9-to-5. Do you have the opportunity to go to part-time? Maybe you can transition from full-time to part-time hours and put more time into your side hustle. All these are things people don't necessarily consider. They feel like, again, they got to go all in. They got to take the leap. But if you know you're going to leverage it and you say, I'm going to leave in a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself a year here. What can I do in the next year to really set myself up in my business? And you get to a certain point, maybe you can go to part-time. You also think about who at your 9-to-5, maybe they're potential clients or customers in your own business as well. Or who do they know? That's how we build our networking skills as well.
Absolutely.
Who do they know? The types of relationships you build with your coworkers. Is that how you're going to build relationships with your clients and your customers? So there is so much that you really can take away from that experience. It's not just like, oh my God, I hate my job, I need to leave right now. And I know that there are some people that have been, and I've dealt with clients who've been in very toxic environments as well. And they're very limited with what they have access to, and they actually are truly unhappy. But then that is also motivation. Like I have to get this side hustle up and running. So let's work on our time management. Let's work on how to prioritize our goals and how to break them down into different tasks and milestones to work on being able to grow the business. That's just more motivation if you're in that toxic environment.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but you
let's
can
flip the
leverage.
script. Let's make it fun. Let's flip the script. Those are the great things that you said that would be valuable to take away from.
Yeah.
What you shouldn't. And now let's talk about what you should absolutely not take from an employee mindset or not transfer into your business and just leave behind in your old job.
The one thing you should not take from the employee mindset is that's where we talk about fixed mindset and growth mindset. And that's, I think, the difference between being an employee and an entrepreneur. As entrepreneurs, we really got to be open. When you look at the definition of entrepreneur, the word risk is mentioned as well, right? So I think one of the things is we really have to be adaptable, and you have to be open to the risk. You have to be open to the growth. As an employee, you may have been in the same role for a certain number of years, and you really didn't have to be creative. You didn't really have to adapt. But that won't make you a very successful entrepreneur. If you want to leave, you want to be able to learn and to grow and to understand that you're going to evolve as an entrepreneur. So leave behind that very small mindset, that very fixed mindset, and really start to open yourself up to the possibilities. And also understanding, we did touch on, it's okay to fail, and some failure is lessons, and some things will not necessarily work out. And knowing that, another word, especially, back in 2020, another word is pivot. There are going to be things that you're just going to have to shift in your business. It's not going to work out. Be okay. Work through guilt and navigating guilt as well. There's a guilt of leaving your 9 to 5. Some people feel bad about that if they feel like their employer really relies on them in the role and the team really relies on them. And it's just like, yeah, they can replace you tomorrow if they
Probably even
really
today.
wanted to, right? They'll be okay, I'm sure. But then there's also the guilt on the entrepreneur side of like, I really worked hard on this thing and it's not really working out. I got to try something else. I got to do something else. It's not necessarily you're completely abandoning it. Maybe it's just you're adapting it in a different way. So you gotta pivot. You gotta shift. And if you work, especially in a 9 to 5 setting, another thing to leave behind, I think, is there might be some competition there. If there's just one role that a certain number of people are going after in the 9 to 5 setting, and you can get this one promotion, this one thing. Collaboration is key in entrepreneurship. I think there's room at the top. I don't care how many business coaches there are out there. We're all doing something very, very different. We're all bringing something very, very unique to us, and being able to collaborate, just like we're doing right now. We are essentially collaborating.
Absolutely, yeah.
Collaboration is key. Being able to really work with others and not just asking, what can I get out of this and what can I get from them?
Yes.
What am I bringing? What am I offering to Magdalena's podcast? What am I offering to Habits of Influence? What kind of value am I bringing to this podcast today? Right. And that's where that exchange would happen. So being able to work with others and building those relationships with others is very key. Leave behind that kind of competition is great. Some people
a little bit of healthy, yeah, absolutely.
For
because
sure.
Obviously, this is
you're right. You want to be like,
right?
Right. And I like to talk about your competitive advantage as well as an entrepreneur. Yeah, there are other people that are doing what you're doing, but what makes you you? What is your secret sauce? What makes you stand out? That's that part of the competition I think is really important. But understanding it's okay to work with others, I think is really super key. So leave behind the fixed mindset, adapt to being able to grow, that growth mindset, and also leave behind feeling like you have to compete for everything, and be more open to collaboration with
Those
others.
are brilliant. And I would add one more. Don't think that you can leave out of your office at 5 p.m. and stop thinking about your business, because it never stops.
It never stops, right? Exactly. When you create those boundaries, they're not just external boundaries, they're also internal boundaries. You got to be able to check in with yourself and make, hold on a second.
Why am I waking up in the middle of the night and making notes for posts?
Why is this coming to me at 3 a.m.? I should be sleeping right now. But it's being able to establish those internal boundaries and being able to check in with yourself as well, and giving space for the negative, if you will, emotions, the sadness and the anger. When you get frustrated with something in a business, get a whole space for those emotions, whole space for yourself. Allow those emotions. We have feelings so we can feel things. It's not that they will stick around. We won't always feel like that. They're absolutely temporary. But then check in and say, what triggered this? Why am I so upset by this? How do I want to feel? What do I need to do to feel that way? Who do I need to speak with? What is the next goal that I can set? And you use that as another opportunity to reflect, I feel like.
I agree. So what can people ask themselves? Or is there a process that you might have for people who are still in their 9 to 5, but are kind of, on the fence, maybe pondering, maybe just like thinking, oh, should I try it? Maybe I should not. Maybe what should I do? Is there a process that you take people through to kind of work through those thought processes if this is indeed something they should start pursuing?
Yes, it definitely, absolutely is a process. And it's the one thing, that's why my 3 pillars would come in: emotions, mindset, strategy. And I think it's important to start off by validating how they're feeling, because I believe how you feel impacts what you think and ultimately what you'll do. So emotions, mindset, strategy, right? So if you're going after, you're feeling like you should be going after something, you're not really sure what you should be doing next, you can talk to the professional, talk to the coach, have the conversation. A good coach won't pressure you into something right there on the spot. There are the coaches that have made the rest of us look really bad, but a good coach will have the conversation with you, see what your needs are. If you are entertaining the thought, I feel like you really should explore it. And think about, create also like the ideal scenario. If I do this, what would my life look like if I come out on the other side? If I leave my 9 to 5 and I am able to turn my passion into profit, what would my life look like? What does it mean? And then that's when you start to define your success and see like how it actually really feels to be on the other side of that. Like, I could be in control of my time and I can do this and this. Then I'll be able to so-and-so, and I'll be able to take my kids to blah, blah, blah. And I'll be able to, and you're like, yeah, I want that. How do I get there? And you hold on to that thing and just reach out and have the conversation. But if you're entertaining the thought, I think it's worth a shot to at least explore it. And it's okay how long it takes. You don't have to take the leap. It might take you a year. It might take you 2. It might take you 6 months or 3.
Or 3 days.
You might just take the leap, right? But if you have the right kind of support, then hey, like you will feel so confident. But a lot of people have to build that confidence, because quitting, there's this negative connotation that comes with quitting, right? And but I feel like quitting could be one of the best things. Quitters can win. If you know, I don't want to be here, I want to be over there. How do I get there? Then tap into it.
Exactly. And this is going to be kind of like your first experience of learning to do it in a future, right? Because sometimes, like, I'm a multiple business owner. Sometimes you need to make decisions. Okay, I'm putting more time into this. Something will have to go, right? I will have to let go of a certain part of what I was doing up until now, but maybe it's not necessarily fitting into what I'm doing at this moment. So, learning how to process those emotions and how to feel confident in your decisions, I think this is the first step to it. And it's a great lesson that you can also transfer into being a business owner.
Sure. To get that clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity is the one thing that always comes up. A lot of times in my experience, they have this idea, or maybe they've even started the side hustle, but then they're not necessarily clear on the direction that they want to take it in. They're not necessarily, they don't know who their ideal client is. They don't know exactly what their values are, what languages are supposed to be using to attract their ideal client. So the more that we're able to work together and they get that clarity, then they start to set goals that make sense, that are aligned with their values. They start to get results that make them feel good. And this is their thing. And no one took away from that. We just provided the support that they needed to get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if people do need that support, Christen,
yes,
where can they find you?
my website is ChristenN.James.com. I am on social media, any social media platform at Christen N.James. I like to invite people, find me on Instagram, if you will, slide in my DMs, ask me that question. I promise you, I'm not going to try to sell you something that you don't need, but I really want to, if you have a side hustle idea, I want to hear about it. So reach out. It's the intro call is 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute conversation. And we see maybe it will end there. Maybe it'll turn into something beautiful. It could take a year. It could take 2, whatever it is. It's all up to you. But I say pursue it. I say explore it if you're entertaining the thought.
And if people just want to reach out to you, like personally, do you have any social media that you're on specifically where people can connect with you, reach out to you, ask questions, maybe if they're not sure if they are ready for a conversation, but they're kind of like,
they want to
let me feel her out.
They can creep on Instagram at Christen N.James. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. Anywhere you find me, I will be wearing the purple lipstick. You cannot miss me. Purple lipstick in some kind of bright color. You want to check me out, by all means you can. You can listen to my podcast, The Shine to 5 Method for Side Hustlers podcast as well. I provide a lot of tips and I share a lot of stories. I keep it very, very real, or guest expert advice. They can check out the podcast as well. And when you're ready for the conversation, I'm here to have it with you.
Wonderful. And guys, remember that as per usual, all the links for Christen are going to be in the description of this episode on YouTube, as well as on all of your favorite podcast platforms. And my podcast junkies, remember to like and subscribe, or leave a review for Shine to 5, because we all love podcasts that are real. We all love podcasts where Well, that's essentially no fluff. So go
Right.
over there and definitely leave a little review. And yeah, follow Christen on all of our social media and connect with her. Look at her website. I know that you also have a masterclass for people, a free masterclass that they could actually take. So by all means, guys, use that, get that clarity. And if it really is so strong, that urge within you, to try and explore it, like Christen said, there's no better way to find out than to just go in.
Go
And
after
try
it.
it.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christen, for being with me today. I really enjoyed it. I know we could take it into much more avenues, but you know, we're both having a limited time here for the episode. I wanted to thank you once again for all the insights, and I hope that, you know, people will check you out because guys, I've literally, I always do research before I have my guests on the show, and Christen has got a lot of resources and tools you can use, even if you are not ready yet. So highly recommended. All right, so that will be it for the episode. Once again, thank you, Christen. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Remember to give some love to our podcast and to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, as well as subscribe and tap the notification bell on YouTube so you never miss another episode. Subscribe. We have fantastic guests every single week, and next week, Ian is going to be with you with his next guest. I'm sure it's going to be as awesome as today. Thank you again, Christen. Thank you, guys, and I'm going to see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.